next most commonly asked question I get from y'all is, how do I mirror objects in the world? So I'm going to cover mirror next. Now, if we take a closer look at our trusty cube, we first have to actually make sure that we've set up our mesh to mirror properly. And something to keep in mind with the mirror tool that I use in this case is that it commits completely the mirrored object, meaning it doesn't dynamically mirror with the selection that you've made. So what that means is that once it's mirrored, it doesn't continue to make those changes on the other side anymore. So this is really something you typically do at the end when you've modeled half of your mesh. This has got a lot of really great use cases. It just kind of depends. Like, for example, doing Bender's arms, doing the flip on that's actually a perfect use for the mirror tool. So in order to set this up, first thing we have to do is we need to understand the X, Y, and Z coordinates of our space here. I've hidden the keys and mouse tool right here. I'm going to pop them back up shortly, so I don't want you to worry, but I need to hide it for just a second so that we could take a closer look at this little X, Y, and Z icon. It's very small. I apologize for that. But this guy is going to inform us a little bit more about our world. Now, I mean, it's pretty intuitive. It seems to show us like which direction is X, Y, and Z. But a little bit more information about this puppy is that his name is the axis direction indicator. I just think it's smart to know what it's called. The values of X and Y will be either positive or negative. We know that 0 is the dead center of our grid, and it's safe to say that let's go. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and hide this. This point right here where these larger grid lines intersect is the 0 coordinate for X, Y, which would be up and down off of the grid, and Z right here. So how do I know which way is X, Y, and Z positive versus negative? Well, if we look at this little indicator right here, the up from here, right there, that's Y positive, and the down is Y negative. So anywhere that the direction that the line is indicating is the positive value as opposed to the negative. So if positive Y, positive X, and positive Z for I to follow those grid lines, right? Okay, I'm gonna turn my mouse puppy back on. Well, actually, I think I might need to hide it again. You know what I'll do. Let's move them on up so we can see. Yeah, there we go. So let's go ahead and turn my hide back on from my cube. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I've established that where the mirror occurs is at perfect 0. If I leave this in the center, it's going to mirror right down the middle, making virtually no visible change to a perfect cube. So I'm going to move this puppy over just a little bit. And so what I've done is that I've moved my object to be mostly entirely on the X positive axis, right? I'm going to delete that because really this is half of my mesh and I want to mirror the other side. Now I'm actually keeping it quite close this time because what it does when you have it exactly at 0 is it'll merge the geometry to make it one object. And so how do we do that? So if we head up to mesh, we click this mirror dialog box, right? Yeah. And I can select which axis I want to mirror the object. Well, I know that I want it on the X axis because that's where I moved it. I moved it to X positive, and I choose the direction. I think by default, it's set at a positive direction. So it's expecting you to set it up on the negative, so it'll create it on the positive. My brain doesn't usually work that way. I usually just kind of set it on positive and I want to mirror the other side. However you do it, it's fine. There's no wrong answer here. But what is important that we understand is that we make sure we know where our values set, right? So if I leave it on the positive, it means that it's on the side that the bar or the line is pointing. And that way I know that I will mirror it on the negative, right? So now if I hit apply, boom, it creates the geometry on the other side and mirrors it for me. So before I mentioned, it does not mirror it dynamically, meaning, meaning if I try to move this, it'll just move it like it's regular old geometry and it won't mirror together. If you want to know how to do that, I'm going to cover that on the next Maya short.